June 6, 1940. Dear Marg, I meant to answer your letter earlier in the week and try and keep up the promptness of your last 3 letters, but alas! I've fallen down on the job again. There is really an excuse though, as things at the spring plant haven't been just what they should. The boss is getting too far behind with wages, yet he is still buying equipment. We had it pretty hot last Saturday night. I didn't want to tie him up, as I feel sure I can make a good job for myself if the thing ever gets rolling. However, we came to an understanding tonight and I feel a lot better. Yesterday afternoon, a half-holiday, a lad from New Liskeard and I spent the day in a canoe. It was great. Coming home in the evening, the lake got pretty rough, and when I say rough, I mean rough. The wind was in our backs and we crossed the bay a distance of nearly 5 miles in 3/4 of an hour. When the canoe would reach the crest of a wave, we would paddle as hard as we could and fairly shoot along, just like surf riding, a real thrill. The canoe was half full of water by the time we reached Haileybury, but we had our bathing suits on and weren't worried much. We are going out again Sunday if the weather holds out. They have been recruiting here for the past 3 days and about 100 lads joined up. The town gave them a real send-off, brass bands and the whole town to cheer them. I noticed a lot of wet eyes and misty glasses. It seems so different when you know nearly the whole lot. One feels chills in the back and you feel kind of tight inside. I felt as if I was being left behind, especially when I saw a lad from Kirkland Lake who worked with me in the bush one year. He was certainly pleased to see me, and so was I. Of course, Joyce had to start things. All the girls of the town were there to say goodbye to the boyfriends. One lad reached out of the train to shake hands with my bold young sister, but she went further and reached up and kissed him. That started it. Those lads never kissed so many girls before in their lives, and I bet they never will. The provincial policeman patted Joyce on the back and said he was glad someone started it. Well, darling, I think I have had my say so far, as the news of this week goes. I am glad to hear you are progressing with the studies. Mine are at a sorrowful standstill, although I did add a nice sample of asbestos and one from the petrified forest, and really pleased with them. Well, Margie will close now and get to bed. Gosh, I wish I could see you, if only for one evening. As ever. Roger XXX. June 18, 1940. Dear Marg, thanks for the letter, dear. I suppose I should also thank your girlfriend for keeping you writing, as she was indirectly responsible for the letter. However, I won't bother, as you didn't mail it until later, eh? We certainly had our share of rain, 2 thunderstorms today, and the one just passed was a real one. The lights were out for over an hour. The sky is clearing up now and it's quite cool. I don't think we can expect it to be very warm tomorrow. I was up at Larder Lake last week. Things are pretty quiet in the mining line, although there is considerable building. I expect to go to Matachewan before the end of this week and hope to get in a night's fishing. We had a little trouble with Mr. Don this week. He got into trouble at school and was kicked out. Just as bad as your brother, says Mother. However, Dad went to the school and fixed things for the duration of the term. Whether he can go back in the fall depends on his actions for the remainder of the year. Here is hoping he behaves himself. Well, dear, what do you think of the war now? Italy in and France practically out. It certainly looks bad, but we will lick them yet, and so badly they won't stick their chests out for a good many years. However, the Italians as a nation are like individual wops, treacherous and yellow, at least all that I have met are. It tickles me the way the Air Force went after them at the beginning of the war. That's the way to start. If they would only blow that isthmus into the sea, it will save a lot of trouble. They are recruiting for the engineers tomorrow at the armories here in Haileybury. But I am waiting for another chance at the surveyors. I think I can make it now. I wonder how much longer it will be before the States are into it. About another month or 2, I would say, although we don't need their men, just machinery. Well, darling, I have 2 business letters to write for Dad, so I'd better start on them soon or it will be too late. Well, darling, be a good girl and write yours truly a nice long letter. Gosh, I would love to see you again. As ever. Roger XXX. July 7, 1940. Dear Marg, Here it is over a week since I received your letter. Really, dear, I meant to answer before this, but it seemed that I couldn't just find the time. I have been on the road for Dad during the day and spent 4 nights of last week helping an accountant who was trying to straighten up a garage company's books. Apparently, they had fallen down on their sales tax return and were afraid of trouble. You have to be pretty careful now. We certainly are having wonderful weather. The first hot day was the first of the month. I thought I would melt. There was a big day at New Liskeard with the Fireman's Tournament, a traveling show, and local field day ending with a big dance at night. Today, Sunday, was a real roaster. I spent the day on the beach. It was pretty nice, but far from dear old Muskoka. Well, darling, how did you spend the holiday? Away from the city, I'll bet. I wouldn't want to be in the city today at any rate unless I could see you. I would put up with a great deal to do that. Things are pretty quiet around here at present, and I suppose they will be as long as the stock market is bad. A chum of mine received quite a shock yesterday when word came to him that his youngest brother was killed in action, likely at Dunkirk. He was only 20. 2 older brothers are over there, one a pilot who went over last winter. The other with the last bunch, Buck as he is called, is the only one left. His father died from injuries of the last war, his mother 2 years ago. Buck claims he will join the first chance he gets. It makes one stop and think when a whole family goes like that. Well, darling, I am getting close to the bottom of the page and it's the last I have. Are you going to Muskoka for your holidays? I expect Mother to go down for a week or so. She is renting the cottage for August. There were tenants in it this week, but no prospects for the balance of the month. Well, Margie, don't keep me waiting as long for a reply as I have kept you. As ever. Roger XXXX.